Okay, so let's go ahead and wrap up our absolute value equation problem. We kind of set the groundwork here. Again, just as a reminder, when we're solving an absolute value equation, the first thing is my absolute value has to be equal to something positive. And then since there's two ways to be 7 units away from 0, right, whatever's inside here has to be equal to those two possibilities. Negative and 7, both are 7 units away from 0. So that's why we rewrite it as the equation x plus 3 equals negative 7 and x plus 3 equals 7. So we're just going to continue to follow that same route, right, as we do these other sets of problems. So starting with the first one, right, what we have is the absolute value of 3x plus 4 plus 2 is equal to 10. So before we can use what we just learned up here, I need to isolate the absolute value. So we'll do that by subtracting 2. That gives me the absolute value is equal to 8. Good news here, right? The absolute value is something positive. So what are my possibilities? Well, one possibility is that 3x plus 4 is negative 8. And the other possibility is that 3x plus 4 is equal to positive 8. If, my distance from 0 has to be 8. So whatever's inside of here, those are the two possibilities, right? Negative 8 and 8 sit 8 units away from 0. And now we just solve the resulting equation. So subtract 4. We end up with 3x equals negative 12, divide by 3, and one of our solutions is negative 4. Over here we subtract 4, and we get 3x equals 4, divide by 3, and we get x equals 4/3. And so there's our two solutions. Plugging them in, 3 times a negative 4 would be negative 12, plus 4 would give us negative 8. Absolute value is positive 8 plus 2 is 10, so that checks out. 4/3, well, 3 times 4/3 is 1, plus 4 would be, is 1. So let me, let me do this one, because I'm getting a little choppy here. So there I am, plugging it into the equation. 3's cancel out. We have the absolute value of 4 plus 4, right? So this would be 8 plus 2 equals 10. So that guy also checks out as well. So make sure, again, you double check just to make sure our solutions work. For letter F, same idea. Here's the absolute value. So to isolate it, I'll add 2 to both sides. I get the absolute value of 4x plus 1, minus 1 is equal to 10. So good news is my distance from 0 is positive. So what are the possibilities? Well, maybe the 4x minus 1 is negative 10, or maybe 4x minus 1 is positive 10. And so just solving what's left, we get 4x equals negative 9, divide by 4, and one of our solutions is negative 9/4. So I believe it checks out. All right, add 1 to both sides, we get 4x equals 11, divide by 4, and we get 11/4, and that will check out as well. All right, I'll let you guys do the checking out. I don't want to spend too much time doing the checking. There's your solution. So again, the rhythm's the same. Get your absolute value isolated. Hopefully it's equal to something positive, which gives us two possibilities, right? There's two ways to be 10 distance away from 0, 10 or negative 10. Over here we throw a fraction, but again, isolate that. We subtract 4. So we get the absolute value of 1/2 x minus 3 is equal to 1. It's positive, so that means 1/2 x minus 3 is either negative 1 or 1/2 x minus 3 is positive 1, right? So there's the rewrite of the absolute value, the two possibilities that it can be. Adding 3 to both sides, we get 1/2 x equals 2. And if we multiply both sides by 2, we get our answer of 4. And again, I do believe that checks out. Over here, if we add 3 to both sides, we end up with 1/2 x equals 1 plus 3 is 4. Multiply both sides by 2, and we end up with an answer of 8. All right, and again, half of 8 is 4, minus 3 is 1. Absolute value of 1 is 1, plus 4 gives us 5. So you can see that it checks out. Okay, so again, hopefully you're just seeing that rhythm. Again, since we're talking about a distance from 0, and there's two different ways to have a distance from 0 equaling the same thing, we end up with two potential answers, a positive and a negative one, or two potential starts, a positive and a negative start. Last but not least, the new wrinkle is we got a quadratic in there. but follow the rules. Here's my absolute value. It's equal to something positive. So how do I rewrite this? Well, maybe whatever's inside there is negative 12, right? Or what's inside there is equal to positive 12. Those are the two possibilities. So we basically have a quadratic to solve in each. If we add 12 to both sides here, we have x squared minus 4x, right, plus 12 equals 0. If we subtract 12 over here, we end up with x squared minus 4x minus 12 equals to 0. Okay? I think this side over here factors real nice. Right? So let me start with that one. Right? So we add 6, subtract 2. Alright, so there's our two answers. So these two values of x make this inside equal to 12. Hence the absolute value is 12. Alright, and I do believe that those check out. Over here, unfortunately, that's a plus sign, so I'm not really sure if that will factor out really nice. So how about, let's restart this and use our completing the square. That gives us negative 2. Negative 2 squared is 4. So x squared minus 4x plus 4 equals negative 12 plus 4. This is x minus 2 squared, and this side is negative 8. If I square root both sides, I can already see I have a problem, because we end up having that square root of a negative, and that's not real anymore. Our answers, we want them to be real at the moment, not complex. Okay, so that's a possibility, and so there's basically how you answer H. Again, the idea is you get the absolute value by itself, rewrite it in the two ways that can happen, right? So if I'm, whatever number I have here, I'm either negative that number or positive that number, and then you solve the resulting equation. And then just make sure that you double check your work, and we'll go from there. So that should wrap up our absolute value discussion. We've got one more round of possibilities, that is hitting quadratics, and we'll do that in another part of our module and with some new videos. See you guys then.